Welcome to Lingotales, where we will live the story and learn the language. What can happen when the fastest animal is too proud to be careful? In this story, we visit a green meadow beside an old forest. All the animals know the hare is very fast. The hare knows it too. He runs quickly, and he tells everyone how wonderful he is. But another animal lives in the meadow too. The tortoise is small and slow. He has a heavy shell and quiet eyes. He does not feel shame because he is slow. He just keeps going. One warm morning, under the old oak tree, the tortoise does something brave. He asks for a race, and the whole meadow comes to watch. The proud hare raced across a green meadow at the edge of the old forest. His long legs moved very fast through the grass. When he ran, he almost looked like he was flying. His bright eyes looked ahead, his ears flew behind him, and he held his head high. Birds watched from the branches. Deer lifted their heads. Squirrels stopped on the tree trunks. Every animal knew the hare was fast. The hare made sure they remembered it every day. The hare showed off beside the pond, while the other animals watched with tired faces. He ran in circles before the frogs could blink. He ran around the old oak and came back before a beetle crossed a leaf. At first, the animals clapped and smiled. But the hare did this again and again. He laughed, bowed, and said no creature could ever run like him. Slowly, the animals stopped smiling. They were tired of his proud voice. The tortoise walked slowly along the meadow path with his heavy shell and calm eyes. Warm sunlight shone on his shell. His legs were short and each step was careful. He never hurried because hurrying was not his way. Other animals jumped, flew, or ran around him. The tortoise moved with quiet patience. He did not ask anyone to admire him. He only looked at the path in front of him and took one steady step after another. The hare sprang in circles around the tortoise on a small patch of grass. He laughed and jumped from side to side. He teased the tortoise because he needed so much time to cross even a short place. The tortoise did not answer angrily. He did not lower his head in shame. He did not try to run. He kept his eyes on the path. He put one foot in front of the other. The hare laughed, but the tortoise kept going. The animals gathered beneath the old oak while the hare stood proudly before them. It was a warm morning, and golden sunlight lay over the meadow. Flowers opened to the sky. Dust floated in the air because the hare had been racing up and down the hill. He stopped in front of the crowd and smiled. He was not tired at all. The fox watched from the shade. Squirrels sat on the roots. Birds lined the branches. The hare said again that no one could beat him. The tortoise lifted his head at the edge of the gathering beneath the oak. His small body was still, and his calm eyes looked at the hare. In a quiet voice, he said he would race him. For a moment, the meadow was very still. Even the birds were silent in the branches. Then the hare laughed loudly and butterflies flew away from the flowers. But the tortoise did not blush. He did not step back. He stayed where he was. The animals pointed along the winding meadow path from the oak toward the forest stone. The race would start under the great tree. It would cross the meadow, turn by the pond, climb the gentle hill, and finish beside a grey marker near the forest edge. For the hare, this was not far. For the tortoise, it looked like a very long journey. Still, the tortoise faced the path quietly. The hare smiled, as if he had already won. The fox stood between the hare and the tortoise at the starting line under the oak. Birds flew ahead to watch from the trees. Squirrels hurried toward the stone marker. Frogs waited by the pond with wide eyes. The hare stretched his strong legs and looked at the tortoise with a small smile. The tortoise did not stretch. He did not boast. He only looked forward. The meadow waited for the signal. Everyone wanted to see this strange race begin. The hare burst from the starting line, while the tortoise took his first slow step. The hare flew across the first part of the meadow like an arrow. The grass bent under his feet and the flowers shook behind him. The animals gasped because his speed was wonderful to see. Far behind him, the tortoise lifted one foot, placed it down, and lifted the next foot. The old oak tree slowly became farther and farther behind him. The hare turned on the path and laughed at the distant tortoise behind him. The tortoise was only a little way past the starting line. He looked small in the grass, but he was still moving. The hare was pleased by this. He slowed down and even ran backward for a few steps. He acted as if the race were only a game for him. The tortoise did not answer the laughter. He kept moving, one small step at a time. The hare arrived in a rush of dust at the pond, where frogs watched from the water's edge. Dry leaves turned in the air behind him. Small ripples moved across the bright water. He stopped and looked back. The tortoise was far away on the path. The hare felt no worry. The finish line was not far for someone as fast as he was. Racing the tortoise did not feel like a real race, so he decided he did not need to hurry. The hare bent over the pond and studied his reflection in the water. He looked at his long ears, bright eyes, and strong legs. Those legs had carried him so far so quickly. In his mind, he already heard the animals cheering his name at the finish line. The tortoise was still behind him, slow and patient. The hare thought he was easy to beat. After a while, the hare turned from the pond and bounded up the hill, but not at full speed. The hare bounded lazily from stone to stone on the sunny hillside path. He ate a leaf here and smelled a flower there. He let the warm sun rest on his back. A soft wind moved through the meadow, and a bird sang above him. The race now felt more like a nice walk than a contest. Far down the path, the tortoise was still moving. To the hare, he looked too far away to matter. The hare lay down beneath a leafy tree halfway between the pond and the finish line. From the cool shade, he could still see far down the path. The tortoise was closer than before, but he was still behind. He was still slow. The hare thought it would be funny to rest before winning. Even if he slept for a little while, he believed he could wake up, run the last part of the path, and win easily. The hare curled beneath the tree with his eyes closed as bees drifted through the warm air. At first, he only wanted to rest for a few minutes. The sunlight was warm. The shade was cool. The sounds of the meadow became soft around him. Leaves moved above his head. Far animal voices became quiet. Soon, his paws relaxed, his ears moved a little, and his breathing became slow. The proud hare was sure he would win, and he fell deeply asleep. The tortoise walked past flowers and warm pebbles on the long path toward the pond. He did not look for a shorter way. He did not think about how far ahead the hare might be. Small roots crossed the path. Loose dust slowed his feet. A fallen leaf stuck to his shell for a moment. Still, he continued. Each step was small, but each step moved him forward. The race had started, the finish line waited, and the next step was his. The tortoise reached the pond while surprised frogs watched him from the muddy bank. They had seen the hare come long ago and leave in a cloud of dust. But the tortoise did not look sad or afraid. His breathing was slow and his eyes were steady. He moved past the shining water and started up the gentle hill. The sun was higher now and the day was warmer. For short legs under a heavy shell, each upward step needed patience. The tortoise came upon the hare, sleeping in the shade beneath the leafy tree. The hare's ears moved and his nose twitched, as if he dreamed of cheers and victory. Some animals saw what was happening and became excited. Birds moved from branch to branch. Squirrels whispered near the finish. The tortoise looked at the sleeping hare for only a short moment. He did not laugh at him or call out. The finish line was still ahead, so the tortoise passed him. The tortoise moved toward the gray stone marker as the animals stared in wonder. The marker stood near the edge of the forest beside wildflowers. It was close enough for the tortoise to see clearly. His legs felt tired and his shell felt heavier than before. The path seemed longer with every breath. But he had not started the race to show he was fast. He had started because steady effort was strong too. Behind him, the hare still slept under the tree. A dry leaf landed near the hare's nose, and he opened one startled eye. For a moment, he did not remember where he was. Then he saw the path, the meadow, and the distant stone marker. He jumped to his feet, and panic filled his chest. The tortoise was not behind him anymore. The hare turned around quickly and saw him far ahead. He was still slow and still steady, but now he was terribly close to winning. The tortoise placed one tired foot over the finish line just before the hare arrived. The hare ran down the path with all his speed. Dust flew behind him, and grass bent flat under his feet. The animals looked at the loud rush of his run. Then they looked back at the tortoise, only a few steps from the stone. Slow as always and calm as always, the tortoise lifted one foot, then another. Before the hare reached him, the race was won. The hare lowered his head while the animals gathered around the tired tortoise at sunset. Birds called from the branches. Squirrels danced near the stone marker. Frogs croaked from the pond. Even the fox gave a respectful nod. The hare was faster, and everyone knew it. But speed had not been enough. His pride had made him careless. The tortoise stood quietly beside the marker, peaceful and tired. The meadow honored him, because he kept going when everyone expected him to fail. After that day, the meadow remembered the race for a long time. The hare was still fast, but he was not so careless with his speed. The tortoise did not become quick or loud. He simply showed the strength he already had inside him. He had patience. He had focus. He had courage to keep moving. This story reminds us that talent is powerful, but it needs respect and effort. One small step, taken again and again, can go farther than one proud jump that stops too soon. Thank you for listening, and may your own path be steady and bright. You can find the learning materials for this story, along with many more stories, on our website at lingotales.app. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with others. And if Lingotales is helpful for your learning journey, consider subscribing so you can stay connected with our latest videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.